Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like no matter what you do, it's just not enough? Maybe you've achieved things others would envy. Yet deep down, there's this nagging voice telling you that you're still falling short. Here's the kicker. You're not alone. Millions of people feel trapped by the weight of self-doubt and destructive comparisons, constantly chasing an ideal they think will finally make them worthy. But what if I told you that this endless cycle isn't your fault, and that breaking free is not only possible but simpler than you think? The truth is, the inferiority complex is a silent thief. It robs you of your confidence, your creativity, and even your ability to enjoy life. But here's the good news. You don't have to live this way. In fact, the very feelings that make you feel less than could be the key to unlocking your greatest potential. Surprising, isn't it? By understanding where these feelings come from and learning how to transform them, you can finally take control of your life and start living on your own terms. So, if you're ready to stop feeling like a spectator in your own story and start becoming the author of it, you are in the right place. In this video, we're diving deep into the roots of the inferiority complex, why it happens, and most importantly, how you can overcome it. Ease cheeky with me because by the end, you'll have the tools to turn self-doubt into self-empowerment. Let's get started. The term inferiority complex is thrown around so often these days that it almost feels like a buzzword. But have you ever stopped to wonder what it really means? It's not just about feeling less than others. It's a deeply rooted psychological phenomenon that can shape how you see yourself and the world around you. Imagine someone who avoids speaking up in meetings because they're convinced their ideas aren't the giant enough. That's not just shyness. It's the shadow of an inferiority complex creeping in. And yet, there's so much more to this concept than meets the eye. Interestingly, the idea of an inferiority complex didn't just pop out of nowhere. It was introduced by Alfred Adler, a brilliant mind in psychology and a one-time disciple of Freud. Adler, however, took a different path from his mentor, focusing less on unconscious desires and more on how people navigate their feelings of inadequacy. He believed that these feelings, when left unchecked, could lead to a crippling sense of inferiority, or, on the flip side, become a powerful motivator for personal growth. It's fascinating to think that something as uncomfortable as self-doubt could also be the spark for creativity and resilience. But here's the kicker. Most people don't even realize they're living under the weight of an inferiority complex. They chalk it up to being too hard on themselves, or just not confident. Yet, the signs are often there, hidden in the way they compare themselves destructively to others or set impossibly high standards they can never meet. Understanding this concept is like peeling back the layers of a mystery that's been shaping your life without you even knowing it. And once you start to see it, you can't unsee it. But why do these feelings of inferiority arise in the first place? Feeling inferior isn't a flaw. It's a natural part of being human. Alfred Adler believed that this sensation begins early in life, as children recognize their limitations. Think about it. A toddler trying to walk for the first time is painfully aware of how much they struggle compared to the adults around them. These moments of perceived inadequacy are universal, and they're not inherently bad. In fact, they can serve as a powerful motivator, pushing us to grow, learn, and overcome challenges. Without a sense of "I'm not there yet," would we even strive to improve? Adler argued that these feelings of inferiority are deeply tied to our physical, emotional, and social limitations. Maybe you've felt this when you couldn't keep up with a demanding workload, or when social anxiety made it hard to connect with others. These moments of self-awareness can feel uncomfortable, but they're also what make us human. They remind us that we're work in progress, and that's okay. The key is to recognize these feelings without letting them define us. After all, even the most successful people have wrestled with self-doubt at some point in their lives. What's fascinating is how these feelings can act as a double-edged sword. On one hand, they can inspire creativity and drive, pushing us to achieve things we never thought possible. On the other hand, if left unchecked, they can spiral into destructive patterns of self-criticism and comparison. It's a delicate balance, but one worth exploring. The inferiority complex doesn't just appear out of thin air. It's born when natural feelings of inferiority are left unresolved or poorly managed. Alfred Adler believed that while it's normal to feel inferior at times, the real issue arises when these feelings become overwhelming and start to dominate your sense of self. Imagine someone who constantly feels like they're falling short, no matter how much they achieve. Instead of using those feelings as fuel for growth, they become trapped in a cycle of self-doubt and emotional paralysis. That's when a natural feeling turns into a complex. At its core, the inferiority complex is like a prison built from unprocessed emotions and unrealistic expectations. For example, someone who grew up in a household where perfection was demanded might internalize the belief that they'll never be good enough. Over time, this belief becomes a lens through which they view the world, distorting their perception of their own abilities. Instead of seeing challenges as opportunities, they see them as proof of their inadequacy. It's a heavy burden to carry, and one that can feel impossible to escape without awareness and effort. What's even more troubling is how this complex can quietly shape a person's life choices. It might lead them to avoid risks, settle for less, or even sabotage their own success. The irony is that these behaviors often reinforce the very feelings of inferiority they're trying to escape. It's a vicious cycle, but it doesn't have to be permanent. Understanding the roots of the inferiority complex is the first step toward breaking free. But what happens when these feelings go unchecked? The inferiority complex has a sneaky way of taking over your thoughts, leaving you stuck in a loop of self-doubt and negativity. It whispers things like, "You're not good enough," or "You'll never measure up." Over time, these thoughts become so ingrained that they feel like facts rather than fleeting emotions. Imagine someone who avoids applying for their dream job because they've convinced themselves they're not qualified. This isn't just hesitation, it's the paralyzing grip of an inferiority complex holding them back from their potential. One of the most damaging aspects of this complex is the habit of destructive comparison. You might find yourself scrolling through social media, comparing your life to the highlight reels of others, and feeling like you're falling short. Or perhaps you look at a colleague's success and think, "Why can't I be like them?" These comparisons don't just hurt your self-esteem, they create a false narrative that you're somehow less capable or less deserving. It's a mental trap that keeps you focused on what you lack, rather than what you can achieve. The result? A growing sense of incapacity and insufficiency that seeps into every corner of your life. It's like carrying an invisible weight that slows you down and clouds your judgment. But here's the thing. This weight isn't permanent. Recognizing the impact of these thoughts is the first step toward loosening their grip. The question is, how do people typically respond to these feelings of inferiority? When faced with the weight of an inferiority complex, people often respond in one of two ways. They either hide their feelings or overcompensate for them. The first group tends to retreat into themselves, masking their insecurities with silence or avoidance. Picture someone who avoids social gatherings because they're convinced they'll say something stupid or won't fit in. They build walls around their vulnerability, hoping no one will notice their perceived flaws. But in doing so, they also isolate themselves from opportunities for connection and growth. On the other hand, there are those who swing to the opposite extreme, adopting a facade of arrogance or superiority. This isn't genuine confidence. It's a mask to cover their deep-seated insecurities. Think of the coworker who constantly brags about their achievements or dismisses others' opinions to feel in control. Adler believed this behavior, often linked to a superiority complex, is just another side of the same coin. Beneath the bravado lies the same fear of not being enough, but it's disguised as overconfidence to keep others and themselves from seeing the truth. Both behaviors, though seemingly opposite, stem from the same root, a desperate attempt to protect oneself from the pain of feeling inferior. Whether it's hiding in the shadows or shining too brightly to distract from the cracks, neither approach addresses the underlying issue. Instead, they create a cycle of avoidance and disconnection. But what if these two extremes are more connected than they seem? Adler had a fascinating theory about the link between inferiority and superiority complexes. At first glance, the inferiority complex and the superiority complex might seem like polar opposites. But Alfred Adler, in his groundbreaking work, revealed that they're deeply intertwined. In fact, the superiority complex often acts as a smokescreen for unresolved feelings of inferiority. Imagine someone who constantly boasts about their accomplishments or belittles others to feel above them. Beneath the surface, this isn't confidence, it's a defense mechanism, a way to mask their own insecurities and avoid confronting their vulnerabilities. Adler argued that the superiority complex is essentially a coping strategy. It's like putting on a suit of armor to protect yourself from the sting of inadequacy. For instance, someone who struggles with feelings of inferiority in their career might by exaggerating their successes or dismissing others' achievements. This behavior isn't about genuine self, it's about creating a facade to convince both themselves and others that they're better. But the cracks in this armor often show, leaving them feeling even more disconnected and misunderstood. What's fascinating is how these two complexes feed into each other, creating a cycle that's hard to break. The more someone tries to project superiority, the more they suppress their true feelings of inferiority. And the deeper those feelings grow, It's a vicious loop that keeps people stuck, unable to address the root of their struggles. But there's hope. Adler believed that by acknowledging and working through these feelings, it's possible to break free. Overcoming an inferiority complex isn't about erasing feelings of inadequacy. It's about transforming them into a source of strength. Alfred Adler believed that one of the most powerful ways to do this is by fostering a sense of community. When we shift our focus from ourselves to the collective, we realize that our struggles aren't unique. They're part of the shared human experience. Volunteering, for instance, can be a profound way to build this connection. Helping others not only strengthens empathy, but also reminds us of our own value in contributing to the world. Another key strategy Adler emphasized is turning feelings of inferiority into creative motivation. Instead of letting limitations hold you back, use them as a springboard for growth. Think of Alfred, the Brazilian sculptor who created masterpieces despite severe physical limitations. His story is a testament to the power of channeling challenges into creativity. Whether it's learning a new skill, starting a passion project, or simply reframing how you see your flaws, this mindset can transform self-doubt into a driving force for personal achievement. Adler also encouraged people to set realistic life goals. Unrealistic expectations often fuel feelings of failure and inadequacy. So it's crucial to aim for goals that are challenging yet achievable. For example, instead of striving to be perfect at everything, focus on incremental growth in areas that truly matter to you. By breaking down big ambitions into smaller, actionable steps, you build confidence along the way. But even with these strategies, it's important to recognize the subtle ways we sabotage ourselves through defense mechanisms. Every person is a masterpiece in progress, shaped by their unique experiences, strengths, and even their struggles. Alfred Adler emphasized the value of individuality, reminding us that no two people are the same, and that's a beautiful thing. Imagine how dull the world would be if everyone followed the same path or had the same talents. Your quirks, your scars, and even your perceived flaws are what make you one of a kind. Embracing this uniqueness is the first step toward breaking free from the chains of comparison and self-doubt. But individuality alone isn't enough. It must be paired with continuous movement. Life is dynamic, and staying stagnant only feeds feelings of inadequacy. Think of it like riding a bicycle. You need to keep pedaling to maintain balance. Whether it's pursuing a new hobby, seeking therapy to heal old wounds, or simply taking small steps toward a goal. The act of moving forward is what keeps you growing. Even setbacks can be valuable if you view them as part of your journey rather than a reason to stop. The beauty of this process is that it's never too late to start. Whether you're 18 or 80, the opportunity to grow and redefine yourself is always within reach. The key is to avoid perfectionism and focus on progress instead. Remember, life isn't a race. It's a series of moments where you get to choose how you show up. So, what does it mean to truly embrace your individuality and keep moving forward? It's about finding your purpose and using it to contribute to the world, no matter how small the act. Life is fleeting, and every moment you spend doubting yourself is a moment lost. But here's the truth. You are far more capable, resilient, and unique than you give yourself credit for. The scars you carry, the challenges you've faced, and even the doubts that weigh you down, they're all part of your story. And the best part, you're the author of that story. You have the power to rewrite the narrative, to take those feelings of inferiority and turn them into stepping stones for growth. It's not about being perfect. It's about being real, being you. Take a moment to reflect on your life. What's holding you back? Is it the fear of failure? The weight of comparison? Or maybe it's the belief that you're not enough. Whatever it is, know this. You have the ability to change it. Start small. Set a realistic goal. Reach out to someone who inspires you, or take a step toward healing an old wound. Growth doesn't happen overnight, but every small action adds up. And remember, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey of becoming the best version of yourself. So, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you let it sit in the back of your mind, or will you take action? The choice is yours. But one thing is certain, the world needs your unique contribution. Your creativity, your perspective, your story, it all matters. So take that first step, no matter how small, and keep moving forward. And if you want to keep learning and growing, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Together, we can continue this journey of self-discovery and growth.